Hello everyone, welcome to the department update for the week of April 27th, and thank you so much for watching. I want to start off again by saying to you that I could not be more proud of the way that you all are dedicating yourselves to serving our citizens and the services that you're providing to our residents. It's just very much appreciated, very grateful for what all you're doing. I want to give you some information about kind of our response, and as well talk about what I know that is on everyone's mind, and that's our budget. To start with, our call volume has been lower by about 10%, the responses that were going overall to the entire city. As you know, we have had four of our firefighters that were positive COVID. Three, though, by now have returned back to full duty. One is still not returned to full duty, but we're hopeful that that will change very soon. We have two firefighters in quarantine or isolation at this time. The experience here in the state of Nevada is that we have about 5,000, we're close to 5,000 positive COVID patients out there in the community or that have tested positive, 225 deaths in the state of Nevada. As you probably know, the governor stated in his press release this week that we're starting the plateau and the numbers have begun to stabilize. Hospitalizations are down, ICU patients are down, and we're beginning to see some declines. The stay-at-home order, though, was extended yesterday, and it's extended to May 15th. And the governor also announced that he's joined, the state of Nevada has joined the Western States Pact, which includes California, Oregon, Washington, and Colorado. And we expect that based on the information and based on our experience that we have here with COVID positive patients and folks admitted to hospitals and to the ICU, that as information becomes available, we'll begin to plan to reopen businesses in phases. In fact, the governor states he's planning to relax some restrictions beginning tomorrow, May 1st, to allow for some curbside sales and some outdoor activities. But again, it has to be done safely. One of the guidelines, though, is that there would be, before we begin the reopening of Nevada, that there would need to be 14 consecutive days of lower positive infections recorded. So that brings us to what's happening with our budget and the impacts that we're feeling on the shortfalls to the city of Las Vegas. As I had reported in the last update, our fiscal year 2020 budget will be short by $46 million. The fiscal 2021 budget, the projection is that it will be short by $101 million. So that's a significant amount of revenues that are being lost while businesses are closed down. Communications from the city manager this week has shared, of course, that we're struggling throughout the city organization with trying to bring our budget down so that we would be able to present a balanced budget next month. Budget reductions in the fire department have begun. Fire and rescue, we started with reducing a lot of positions or reassigning folks from positions that were on 40-hour work weeks back out into the floor. We have seen overtime has been averaging lower, so I want to thank you for that. I really appreciate the fact that we are all of our folks are coming to work and they're all providing services out to the community. I don't want to tell you to come to work if you're sick, and absolutely don't want you to be at work if you're sick, but definitely need to be here as much as you possibly can. If possible, cancel vacation if you can do that. That really helps us in terms of being able to staff. It has a direct impact on the need for us to use overtime. So again, it's been greatly appreciated and clearly noticed that there has been a downward trend in the amount of overtime that we're using on a daily basis. We have been able to keep everything staffed and operational in terms of our emergency response units. The city manager has stated that we will be using available funds or revenues that we have available cash for the balance of this year to close out this year so that we can close that gap on the budget cuts or the budget reductions that we're going to be experiencing for this fiscal year, but the department cuts are going to be significant. As I had told you before, city managers prioritized and communicated goals for the city to, number one, keep our employees safe, everything that we can do to make sure that we have all the right equipment and tools and guidance, protective clothing, protective equipment that you need to provide services and be safe doing that. We want to keep our community safe, our citizens safe, and then to maintain the core operations functions that we provide to the city to the extent that we can. What that relates to, or what that works out to be, is that the city manager has determined that he will be asking for reductions from the public safety agencies or public safety departments in the department, 10% reductions. So that's fire and rescue, that's Department of Public Safety, and that's the courts. And Metro Police has also reduced their budget to the city for this year by about $12.4 million. So that is going to help us in terms of meeting that budget reduction requirement. The city needs to make up an additional $19 million, and after freezing all the vacancies and the department budget reductions. And as I mentioned, I stated that the essential functions or the core functions of the city will be maintained to the extent that they possibly can. That's what relates to the 10% budget reduction that we're experiencing. All of our other departments in the city were being asked to reduce their budgets by 20%. So it is significant reductions that will be felt across the organization. City manager is asking all the employee groups to support a wage reduction to avoid the need for layoffs. And we are required to, as a city, to begin layoff notifications tomorrow, May 1st. That's 60 days before they would actually happen. The city manager will and has told the council that we will be submitting a budget by May 20th that will be balanced. That's based on the revenue projections that we have for the fiscal year 21. We did receive stimulus assistance from the federal government, CARES funding, in the amount of about $120 million. That's really good news. The challenge is, though, that the uses of the CARES funding is restrictive. It cannot be used as revenue replacement, so the loss in revenues that we're experiencing can't just be replaced by CARES funding. It's required to be used on new unbudgeted activities, COVID-related activities. And so the city manager will use stimulus funding to begin to add back to that budget that is balanced with resources that fit within the guidelines and those city manager priorities, as I had stated before. So wage reductions were announced for department heads and appointed employees beginning on July 1st. That's a 6% wage reduction. That's already been announced. That will be occurring, as I say, a little later this year. Also is in a way to reduce costs, the Development Services Center, the DSC, on Rancho and 95 will be sold in January of 2021. What that means is that all the departments and the employees that are in the DSC will be relocated, and that includes our fire prevention folks, building and planning. The city manager's goal is to avoid reductions in staffing or layoffs. But again, this Friday, May 1st, is the date that those notifications will be required. That's 60 days before July 1st. Now what that means is that that's a notification that it could happen. It doesn't mean it's actually going to happen. And as more information becomes available, the budget's submitted, there's better understanding of whether or not wage reductions are going to be accepted by our employee groups, and as well how we can utilize stimulus dollars to pay for resources and services that are being provided based on the guidelines. Then we'll know what we'll see in terms of how the budget will end up in the next fiscal year. You've probably seen that immediate cuts are occurring around us. Specifically, Clark County Fire announced that they began resource reductions Wednesday, April 29th. And so based on the number of the staffing that they see on a daily basis, they may be reducing up to 5 rescues and 4 engines and some additional resources that may not be able to be put into service on given days based on the staffing that they have for that day. We can also expect to see begin to see reductions with North Las Vegas Fire, but we don't have any specifics on those at this time. So that's really all the budget information that I can share with you at this time. As we have stated in the past, as we get more information, we'll continue to update you. We want to make sure that we give you as much accurate information about what's happening as we possibly can. And folks, Jason Puckett, I'm asking you to please keep the Puckett family in your thoughts and prayers for the loss of their daughter. It's devastating, sad loss. They need your support and your prayers and your positive thoughts. So please keep the Puckett family in your thoughts and prayers. I want to close again with reminding you that we will be providing these updates on a very regular basis, at least weekly. And it's a little later this week than had been in past weeks, but every week we'll make sure that we provide you with a department update, particularly on what's happening with our budget and the reductions and the implementation of some of the reductions that we have going forward. We want to make sure that you know the very most up-to-date, accurate information on those. And I want to just say to you that it is amazing, the services that you are providing, the dedication that you are showing, and the way that you are serving the city of Las Vegas. It's an honor to see your dedication to our community, and I am very grateful for the manner in which you're going about providing all the services that our community desires and needs. Thank you so much for that.